And on this channel, we grow heart equity, personal, relational, and financial wealth that we obtain through authentic living. And for those of you that are members of the Heart Tribe and you tune in, you know I'm always talking about ways for us to grow heart equity. And today I want to talk a little bit about home equity. Some of you may or may not know, but I am a licensed real estate agent, and I really value and pride myself in educating my community about real estate. I've been in real estate now well over 10 years, been a licensed agent now for almost 6 years, and this is something that's very dear and near to me. So I've just had a conversation with a client, and it dawned on me that maybe you might need to know this information as well. So many people want to know, what's the big deal about purchasing a home? Why should I purchase a home? It costs a lot. There are a lot of risks that are involved in it. And I don't disagree that it does cost to get in a home. There are risks that are involved in being a homeowner, but there are also rewards that you can get from being a homeowner that you just don't get from renting an apartment or a home. One of the biggest benefits to being a homeowner versus a renter is the fact that you grow equity typically in your real estate purchase. When you purchase a lease agreement, when you sign a lease and decide that you're going to rent an apartment, you are paying 100% interest. What does that mean? That means you get no return on your investment, other than, yes, you do have some place to stay, but that rent payment that you're making does not bring you back anything in return in the future. Now, let's say you purchase a home, and when you purchase the home costs $200,000, and you live in the home for 5 years. And then you notice after 5 years, you've noticed your neighbors have been selling their homes, and you riding down the street and you see the for sale sign, and you're wondering, I wonder how much they're selling this house for, because you know how much you purchased it for 5 years prior, but now you see people selling, and you want to see how much these homes in your neighborhood are selling for. That's what we call comparable market analysis. When we look at homes that are near your home and we decide, okay, what are these homes selling for? What did they sell for? What are the amenities that they have? How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms compared to your home, right? We do those analysis. And typically, you after 5 years, the homes that are selling for more than the 200,000 that you bought it for. So I'm going to use an example of a client that I have, someone that purchased a home in 2020. When they purchased that home, the home sold for $250,000 in 2020. So now this is 2025, and I was just looking at some homes selling in that neighborhood, and homes in that neighborhood are now selling for about $350,000 to $400,000 to purchase a home. Now, my client bought a home in that neighborhood 5 years ago at $250,000, but now the homes that are comparable in their neighborhood are selling for $350,000 to $400,000. So that means, now, of course, everyone is different, and we have to look at your home and the quality and state of your home. But that means that my client potentially now has about $100,000 in equity in their home, meaning they purchased it at 250,000, but now the home is comparably worth about 350,000. So in that 5 year period, they have gained about $100,000 in equity. So what does that mean for my client? That means that they may want to sell and move someplace else. If they were to sell their home, they have the potential of selling the home for $350,000. Remember, they bought it for $250,000, and they've been paying the mortgage for about 5 years. So that means that ideally they should owe less than $250,000 on the home, But they have this equity that has accrued in the property, that now if they were to sell that home and walk away, they could walk away with that difference minus the fees that they would have to pay to sell, because there are fees that go into selling. We can talk about that another time. But an estimate would be that person gained about $100,000 in equity. And if they were to sell that home, they would walk away with that difference minus whatever fees they have to pay. Now, let's compare someone that got into an apartment lease in 2020. If that person signed a new lease and got in their apartment in 2020, and let's say their rent was $1,000 in 2020, every year they renew their lease, typically that rent is going to go up. So in 2020 they were paying 1,000. Now it is 2025 and they're paying about 1,400, 1,500, because the rent amount has gone up, because expenses have gone up, and that's how it is with rent. But when they move out of that apartment after 5 years, they don't get any payout. Hopefully they get back the rental deposit that they had to put in to move into that apartment, if they kept, or that home, if they kept up with the property, um, in a way that the landlord feels was acceptable, then they might get their deposit back. But there's no equity. So you have the homeowner that accrued 100,000 in equity in 5 years, and then you have the renter that is hoping to get their deposit back in 5 years. And that's the difference between home ownership. Does every home value go up $100,000 in 5 years? Absolutely not. I just use that for the sake of numbers in the conversation. But typically, most homes increase in value every year, and they appreciate in value, meaning the value goes up. When you have, like when you purchase a car, the minute you drive off the lot, you most of us have been taught and understand that value on that car drops drastically. But the opposite is typically true when you are purchasing real estate. When you purchase a home year after year, ideally the value of your home goes up, and you as the homeowner have options in how you might want to access the equity that's in the home. You don't have to sell your home to access the equity, the value that your home may hold. That's the difference between what you owe and what it's worth. That's what equity is. Equity and what the home is worth. And so if you're the, you buy your home, you keep up with your house, you make the necessary upgrades, and you notice your neighborhood is, in a good condition or improving over the years, then there's a very good chance that your home value is appreciating, meaning going up, meaning your home is worth more than what you paid for it when you bought it. And that is one of the benefits of home ownership. Because when you live in a house, you have family that might live in a house. I know a lot of people that, starting out, they wanted to buy a home. They had this dream house they wanted to buy, but they weren't able to afford it when they initially started the process of owning a home. And then they lived in their home for 5 to 10 years. And when they moved out and were able to walk away with checks of 50, 60, 70, $100,000. I've seen it. I've seen clients live in their homes, right? Purchase and then or go and get a refinance or do a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan and use some of that equity and pay for their kids to go to college, or pay to remodel and upgrade their homes, pay for a wedding, or buy them a car straight out without having to finance it. So home ownership is really a tool and a skill. It's a tool that you can use to really grow wealth in your family, in your community. If you're willing, it's like everything in life. It's a game, and you got to be willing to play the game. And it's a skill. Home ownership is a skill that you learn and you develop, and the better you get at it, the more beneficial home ownership is to you and those that are impacted by the life that you're living, which is all of us, right? So I just wanted to jump on and just share with you that's what home equity is, the difference between what you owe on your home and what that home is worth. And you'd be surprised at how much equity your property can accrue once you purchase a home. So for those of you that are afraid and don't know, look, let's jump on a call. Let's talk about home ownership, what real estate could look like for you and your family. And if you already own a home and don't quite know what to do with it, or how to move forward and find out about the equity in your property, I would love to talk with you about that. Check me out. Book a discovery call. It's free at AdelaiBrown.com. Y'all have a great day.